Hey, how you doing? Every time I do one of these, tea I made this morning, this little flask still is keeping it warm. Yeah, it's my wife's workplace, Midwest Transplant Network. But every time I do one of these, this time I had problems. They were problems of my own making, and mostly relating to using a mirrorless camera, my Sony Sony Alpha 3600. No, not 36. What is it? 3300. It's the older one. They don't make it anymore. And then afterwards, I got in a conversation with somebody about the history of what I know, little I know about the history of cable networks. I was explaining, why I was trying to experiment up until Easter. I'm doing all this experimentation, trying to get to the configuration I'll use at Easter, and trying to figure out what I can do and what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And so every time I do one of these, it's different. I'm doing something completely different. And one of the things that led to the conversation was why we were talking about the MoFi and what the MoFi does, which gives me a Wi-Fi signal I could use for my wireless switcher. And I said, well, the wireless switcher has problems too. It's line of sight. The signal isn't always strong enough. It can glitch and lock up, and part of the problem with that is that there are very powerful Wi-Fi signals in Midtown Kansas City, and and I'm thinking, although I don't know this 100% for sure, but I'm thinking part of the issue is you have these cable companies that have gone into broadband, and they're really got these powerful signals because they could put Wi-Fi transmitters on transmitter receivers on every pole they have in town, or every place. So, they have this advantage. And, and I say, I feel like it's almost a deliberate blocking of people. Like you'll be going down the road and your cell phone turned on, and all of a sudden, if you have the Wi-Fi turned on in the background, which most people do, all of a sudden you've lost your Google Maps, or you've lost whatever app you're using that's trying to transmit data back and forth to servers, because it's being blocked by this powerful cable company, which essentially wants you to subscribe to them for a monthly fee of probably no less than $200, which most people wouldn't want to do. They have cable at home, they're not going to use broadband, so they could. And I said, the crux of it all, I said, this is what I believe. I believe that there should be a nationwide Wi-Fi network owned by no one that we all can use. And it would be like a internet superhighway that everybody has access to, that has a device we don't have to pay into as part of, and essentially we just treat it like part of our infrastructure. And the reason why we would want that, not that we want a bunch more, Nazi hillbillies trying to take over the government because they listened to some crackpot conspiracy theory. But the reason we really want that is it gives access to people who need access. And it should not be just for the rich. And it's another one of those issues. I think, giving people access to information should be a national priority. And we can create a nationwide Wi-Fi net. Nationwide Wi-Fi superhighway. Here to get coffee. I'm also testing out my freewheel lens, cleaning out the wife's car yesterday. I finally found it where it popped off, so I have it at least until it pops off again. I don't know, it seems kind of milky. Like, I tried cleaning it last night, and I don't know if it's cleanable, but I think it's whiter than. What's up?
We got Give Us Enough Road, One Calling, First One, that's it. Combat Rocket.
here at Costco. Gotta take care of things on a list. There's our take the damage for today. Hey, if it seems like I've been grumping more than usual today, there's a reason for that. It's a situation that occurred last night, and can't say much more than that, other than to say that we're in that uncomfortable stage of figuring out how to deal with it in such a way that we don't make things worse for ourselves and our family. And so we're crafting a response, and it may not be immediate. It may not be like tonight or tomorrow or even maybe next week. It's one of those things we have to be very careful with the wording and the intention. I mean, we know our intentions, but unfortunately, though our intentions may be good, you know what they say about good intentions. And so yeah, we have to make sure that the good intentions shine through, but that we also show that we are going to defend tooth and nail our family's future and our rights and everything else, and that we need to be respected. And there are people, unfortunately, who take advantage all the time. I just have never grown up. They learned how to do it as a kid, and they've never been corrected, and they've turned into awful adults that have to be constantly dealt with by those who are unfortunate to have a relationship with them. And so, yeah. So that's where we're at, and the weather is just so beautiful. Look at that. Look at that sunset. Man. I know video, even though all this cinematic crap you can do with video and stuff, can never do justice to what you can see in 2 dimensions. So yeah, the weather is starting to get nice, and hopefully it'll be nice I hear it's going to be pretty nice this week, so it'll give us a respite from the gloom and doom of gray and winter and ice. And we can't let the stupid things get us down. God willing, He'll be on our side, and He'll help us, get through this, and we'll come up with a response that's appropriate and necessary. And the response will be at least seen as something that's positive by the people who can unfortunately have an effect on our future. And so yeah, I can go on forever and ever and ever trying to find words to say. Let's just say I love this little bit of country drive on my way home, and a beautiful part of the day, my favorite time of day to drive this. And sometimes early morning, oftentimes I'm pretty tired early in the morning, and it seems like the sun is never in a great position when you're driving, but I love mornings too, don't get me wrong. But this is number 1. The mornings would be number 2. So, anyways, that's all for now, all for this week. Ta. Oh, hee hee.